So another reason why a BHS coach, or any coach for that matter, might like to improve their knowledge of equine body language, expression, behaviour and what it means in terms of how the horse is feeling, is because if we get good at recognising those subtle signs, those small signs, then we can take steps to improve the horse's welfare. Because at the end of the day, although psychological and physical welfare used to be taught in a fairly separate way, in actual fact, the reason being hungry or being cold or not getting enough sleep causes problems for the horse is because it stresses them, and stress doesn't feel terribly nice, and the same with pain. So we may not always recognise what it is that is causing the horse to have issues, or what it is that makes the horse happy. But if we can recognise how the horse is feeling, then we have a much better chance of working out what it is in the environment that works for them or doesn't. And so this is really, really important when it comes to applying the 5 domains, or previously the 5 freedoms, to welfare. Because if we are just applying it in a very generic way, we're not recognising the individual differences. So horses, just like people, have individual differences. They have personalities, they have different life experiences, and these all mean that they will have possibly slightly different needs. So we can kind of wave the wand and say horses need friends, forage and freedom. And in general, that's probably correct. But for the individual, that isn't always the case. For example, you might have an elderly horse that is arthritic and finds lying down and getting up again challenging. That doesn't mean they can't do it, it just means they're a bit slower, they're a bit achy as they do it, and they feel a bit vulnerable. And if you have them turned out in a herd and you think, oh, here I'm meeting their needs, friends, forage, freedom, that horse may stop lying down. Not because they can't, but because they don't feel comfortable to do so in that environment, because there is perhaps a horse in the herd that comes over when they get down to roll or when they get down to lie down and encroaches in their space, pesters them, asks them to play. You know, it can be any number of things. And so that particular horse then struggles in that situation. They're not getting enough sleep. The behaviour starts to change because they're stressed, and so their welfare is compromised, and yet on the surface their needs are being met. So being able to recognise what each individual horse is telling us in terms of their body language, their behaviour and their expression helps us then to recognise what are the things in that horse's life that are positive, that provide them with good quality of life, make them happy, and what are the things in that horse's life that are not so positive, that are negative, that cause stress for that horse. And then we can take steps to change that and thus improve the horse's welfare, and coincidentally also improve the safety of that horse and the other individuals around them and the people working with them. So safety is a key factor as well.